This Tuesday, a divine sign is coming just for you. This Tuesday is not an ordinary day. It is a divinely appointed moment, a sacred intersection between your inner conviction and heaven's confirmation. Something has already shifted in the unseen, and now the sign must follow, for God is never silent when faith begins to speak. You may not see it yet, but the wheels are turning, the threads are weaving, and a symbol, tailored just for your soul, is being prepared. This sign is not random. It carries your spiritual fingerprint. It will come in a way so personal, so unmistakable, that your heart will recognize it before your mind can explain it. The question is not whether the sign will arrive, but whether you are bold enough to believe it's already been sent. Your assumption, your inner atmosphere, is the magnet drawing it into visibility. And when it appears on a billboard, in a conversation, a dream, a scripture, or even a whisper, you will know this is the signal that your prayers are alive, your journey is guided, and your destiny is unfolding. Heaven is not far. It's simply waiting for your awareness to match the miracle already moving toward you. This Tuesday, a divine sign is coming, just for you. The sign was always waiting on you, not the other way around. It is a deep truth hidden in plain sight. The sign you are expecting this Tuesday has not been waiting in the clouds, delayed by time or withheld by heaven. It has been patiently waiting on you, not on your actions, not on your struggle, but on your awareness, your decision to finally believe that you are the one whom the sign is meant for. You see, life is not happening to you. It is happening through you, and more accurately, as you. What shows up in your external world is not the work of random winds or divine favoritism. It is the echo of your consciousness. Before a sign can appear to your physical senses, it must first be accepted within your spiritual imagination. The world out there is only a mirror, a faithful, obedient servant that reflects the truth you hold within, and that is why this Tuesday is not an accident. It's a divine appointment, but the appointment isn't new, it's ancient. From the foundation of the world, there was a moment marked in eternity for you, a time when your spiritual readiness would catch up to the frequency of the promise, a time when your vibration would say yes without fear, a time when your old story would fall silent long enough for the whisper of divine guidance to be heard. That time is now, that moment is Tuesday, and the sign has always been ready, ready to break into your experience the moment you stop disqualifying yourself from the sacred. The key isn't to chase the sign. The key is to become the person who would naturally see it. That means releasing the idea that signs are rare or random. They are constant, but they are only visible to those who believe they are worthy of seeing them. You've been asking for confirmation, for clarity, for direction, but all of that comes not because God suddenly decided to move, but because you moved, you shifted. You let go of the lie that you must wait in agony for a breakthrough. You stopped pleading and started assuming. You began to carry yourself as if you are chosen, guided, and guarded. And in that subtle inner shift, you triggered the sign's manifestation. The moment you let the seed of belief drop into your spirit, the environment around you began to change. That's why this Tuesday matters, not because it's special in and of itself, but because you are finally aligned enough to recognize what has always been moving on your behalf. There are signs all around us, messages woven into nature, numbers, songs, strangers' words, scripture verses that leap off the page. But until your heart becomes soft enough, still enough, surrendered enough, you cannot interpret them. It's like tuning into a radio station that has been broadcasting all along. The frequency was always there. You just had to match it. And now, for the first time in a long time, you're not fighting it. You're not second, guessing your worth or sabotaging your alignment. You're standing still and knowing, that inner conviction is what magnetizes the outer sign. The beautiful thing about this truth is that it places the power back in your hands, not the controlling, forcing kind of power, but the quiet, radiant power of trust. You don't have to beg heaven for crumbs of attention. You don't have to perform to earn a confirmation. You simply have to assume the feeling of the answer already received, and that assumption becomes your atmosphere. That atmosphere becomes your magnet. That magnet pulls the divine sign from the invisible into the visible, not by might or manipulation, but by the law of correspondence, as within, so without. The only delay has ever been in your inner atmosphere, not in the generosity of the divine. For the moment you release the old state of questioning, when will it happen, am I worthy, did I miss it, you step into the state of already done, and from that state Tuesday becomes inevitable, inevitable for the sign to show up in some personal, wholly unmistakable way, perhaps in a dream, a conversation, a phrase on the back of a bus, a scripture that reads your soul, or an inner knowing that feels like thunder wrapped in peace. But however it appears, it will not be to convince you. It will be to confirm you. And that's the secret so many miss. God does not send signs to change your mind. He sends them to honor the mind you've already chosen. He rewards those who believe first, not those who need proof before believing. So if you want your sign this Tuesday, you must become a match for it today. Walk as if it's already here. Speak as if it's already spoken. Rejoice as if the confirmation has already made its way to you, because it has. It's just waiting for your spiritual eyesight to come into focus. Don't look for it with your outer eyes. Perceive it inwardly, feel the atmosphere of it. Set the tone in your soul, then the outer world will have no choice but to obey. The sign is not your reward for being good. It is the reflection of your identity when you finally accept that you are divine. You are not waiting on God. God is waiting on you. To remember who you are, to assume the truth, and to walk boldly into the promise that has always had your name on it. So mark it well. This Tuesday a divine sign is coming, not to awaken you, but because you have awakened. It is not for your ego, but for your spirit, not to answer your doubts, but to affirm your faith. You don't need to force it, fabricate it, or fear it. Simply stay in the state of gratitude, and you will know when it comes. You will feel it deep in your bones. This was for me, this was always mine, and now it has appeared because I have appeared. The sign was never late, it was just waiting for you. You will know it's your sign because it will speak your secret language. There is no such thing as a generic sign from God, for the divine does not deal in vague messages or public broadcasts. When heaven sends you a sign, it comes in the exact dialect of your soul. It speaks a language only you can truly understand. That is why when this Tuesday arrives, you will not need to ask anyone else, was that it? Because the sign will bypass the noise of logic and strike the center of your spirit like lightning made of peace. You will know, not with the mind, but with that inner knowing that can never be explained to someone who hasn't experienced it. And that is how God moves. He hides his most powerful messages in what appears to be ordinary, so only the one with spiritual perception can see the extraordinary behind it. This sign that is coming to you was not designed in a hurry. It has been crafted before time, engraved with your spiritual DNA, meant to arrive at the precise moment when your heart would be ready to receive it. It may come through a symbol, a name, a number that repeats, a voice in a dream, or even a sudden realization while washing your hands. But however it comes, it will speak in a code you've always known, a code you forgot you carried. The world around you will still be moving, but something in your atmosphere will pause. The moment the sign appears, it will feel like time bends inward. You will feel a wave of stillness, clarity, or tears, not from sadness, but from recognition. Because this is not just a sign of what's to come. It is a sign that the bridge between who you were and who you're becoming has now been built. And when that bridge is complete, when the connection is made, God will whisper in a way only your soul can hear, "This is for you, you've always known it." Understand this, the sign is not meant to convince your unbelief, it is meant to validate your inner truth. It is not proof for the skeptic, it is confirmation for the believer. You may have prayed in silence, asked in groanings too deep for words, wondered if God even heard. But your secret petitions have not vanished into thin air. The moment they left your lips, or even your thoughts, they were received by the one who is not bound by time, and now, in perfect alignment with your readiness, your sign is being delivered not in confusion, but in clarity. You will know it's your sign, because it will not match anyone else's story. It won't make sense to your doubters or your friends. That's why you must stop seeking external validation for an internal revelation. The sign is not a public event. It is a sacred transaction between you and the source of all things. This is why it is crucial that you are spiritually awake on Tuesday, not frantic, not desperate, but inwardly still. Because signs do not shout, they are not loud, they are subtle, precise, intimate. They arrive like a lover's whisper, not like a trumpet blast. And if you are distracted, doubting, or drowning in comparison, you will miss it, not because God withheld it, but because your heart was too noisy to hear it. So clear the space, prepare the altar of your awareness. Let go of the need to know when, where, or how it will appear. Let go of trying to control the form it must take. Your job is not to figure out the method. Your job is to expect it with reverence. Live this weekend with anticipation, not anxiety. Speak as though the answer is already in motion. Carry the mood of certainty, for certainty is the soil in which divine signs blossom. Think of this every time you felt alone, forgotten, overlooked. Those were the moments the sign was gathering its meaning. The weight of what is coming is only as great as the silence that preceded it. So if you've been in a season of silence, if it's felt like heaven has gone quiet, understand this. The silence was the wrapping paper for what's about to be revealed. You had to come to the edge of your logic so you could finally lean on faith. You had to exhaust every earthly method so that when this sign appears, you won't mistake it for chance, you'll know it was grace. And when it comes, even if no one around you understands its depth, you will understand, because it will call something sacred inside you to attention. That's how divine communication works. It doesn't aim at your head, it aims at your spirit. It will feel like a memory you didn't know you had, like déjà vu laced with purpose. You'll feel like your future self just reached back in time and winked at you. That's because the real you, the eternal you, already knows the sign. And now your current self is finally catching up to that awareness. This is not about superstition. This is not about paranoia or looking for signs in everything. This is about deep alignment. About living in such conscious agreement with the truth of your destiny that the universe cannot help but echo it back to you. When your internal voice says, "I am ready," the external world has no choice but to respond, "Here it is." So prepare. Not by striving, but by becoming still. Prepare by letting go of the timeline. Prepare by knowing the sign is not the beginning. It is the evidence that the beginning already happened. Your faith planted the seed, your persistence watered it, and now the sign is the first bloom. It is not the end, it is not the goal, it is the signal that the promise is now unfolding. Do not treat it as the miracle. Treat it as the messenger of the miracle, and once you receive it, don't run to explain it to others. Instead, let it deepen your resolve. Let it make your silence holy. Let it sharpen your vision and open your heart even wider to the journey ahead. For if one sign has come, many more are on the way. You are not on the outside hoping to get in. You are on the inside being reminded that you've always belonged. The sign is the echo of your divine identity, the mirror of your most sacred prayers, and this Tuesday that mirror will shine so brightly you will not be able to look away. You will know, this was for me and only me, because it spoke in the language that only I could understand, and in that moment the invisible will become visible, and you will never walk the same again. Why Tuesday was chosen the divine timing behind your sign. There are no accidents in the orchestration of divine events. The universe does not make mistakes, and God does not operate on our rushed, frantic timelines. Everything he allows is measured, purposeful, and woven into the eternal tapestry of your becoming. That is why this Tuesday is not just another day marked on a calendar. It is the exact moment when spiritual alignment meets divine readiness. This is the hour when your frequency finally matches the fulfillment of the sign you've been inwardly yearning for. You may have thought your prayers went unheard, that your affirmations and intentions were floating into silence, but the truth is, heaven has been orchestrating something far greater than what your limited mind could comprehend. The timing of your sign is not late, it is perfect. It arrives not a minute too soon or a second too late. It appears at the intersection of surrender and awareness. Tuesday is not a random choice. It is the revealed evidence of divine design, a holy appointment made in the invisible long before your mind even conceived of such a day. When you understand this, your posture shifts from anxiety to reverence. You stop chasing signs and start preparing for them. You begin to understand that the delay you perceived was never punishment, but preparation. God has never been waiting on the right time. He's been waiting on the right you. The one who is no longer reactive, no longer afraid to let go of control, the version of you that has matured in faith, emptied of fear, and now able to walk without demanding proof. Because signs are not given to those who live by sight. They are revealed to those who live by inner vision. Tuesday is the moment where what's been moving beneath the surface finally breaks into visibility. Just as a seed germinates in darkness before ever piercing the soil, your sign has been developing in realms you cannot see. The conversations, the alignments, the shifts in people's hearts, the subtle rearranging of time and space, it's all been working in secret for your good. And now that good is ready to speak. That's why it must be Tuesday. Not Monday, not Wednesday. Tuesday is when all threads meet. It is when your vibration reaches the tipping point, and it is when you, finally tired of striving and searching, become still enough to receive. Divine timing doesn't bow to logic. It respects readiness, and most of all, it honors alignment. When your inner state matches the frequency of what you've been asking for, then and only then does the sign appear. You see, the outer world always reflects the inner one. When you were anxious, the signs seemed hidden. When you were doubting, they seemed delayed. But when you started to believe, not out of desperation, but because you knew something sacred was unfolding, the atmosphere changed. And that atmosphere is what draws Tuesday closer. The divine has been watching you evolve, watching you rise through nights of silence, days of invisible faithfulness, moments where you wanted to quit but chose to persist. The reward for that spiritual integrity is this, a moment of confirmation that no man can take from you. This is not about superstition or cosmic luck. It's about the law of correspondence. What you are inwardly convinced of must eventually take form outwardly. And Tuesday is that form. It is the day where your belief materializes in the most unexpected yet precise way, and that's what makes it so powerful. You won't have to strain to see it. It will unfold naturally. It will be quiet but overwhelming, and it will carry the unmistakable fingerprint of the God who's been walking with you through every hidden valley. Divine timing requires trust, and trust is forged in seasons of uncertainty. That's why you've gone through what you've gone through, not to break you, but to prepare your eyes to see. You had to be emptied of the false timelines. You had to release the belief that God operates on demand. You had to learn that miracles don't respond to your calendar, they respond to your consciousness. And this week, your consciousness has reached the level necessary to receive. You are no longer begging for signs, you are aligned with them. You are no longer asking when, they are already on their way. And that's what Tuesday represents, not the start of the blessing, but the confirmation that it was already yours. Some people wait for signs as if they are rewards for good behavior. But God is not transactional. He is transformational. Your sign is not a trophy for surviving hardship. It is the result of becoming someone who no longer needs outer evidence to keep believing. Ironically, that's what causes the evidence to appear. That paradox is the secret to divine timing. The moment you stop needing a sign is the moment you become most open to receiving one. That's what makes Tuesday sacred. It's a mirror of your faith. And while others may go about their day as if it's ordinary, you will sense something different in the air. The veil will feel thinner, the world will feel softer, your spirit will be expectant without effort. And in that stillness the sign will come, not because you forced it, but because you became it. Yes, the sign is arriving, but more importantly, you have arrived. You've stepped into the version of yourself that is no longer chasing, no longer doubting, no longer shrinking. You are no longer the person who needed signs to believe. You are the one who believes, and therefore the signs come naturally. You trust the rhythm of God's voice, and because of that trust, heaven now confirms what you already hold as true. That's why it had to be this Tuesday, because for the first time in a long time, your heart is fully open, your spirit is fully present, and your vision is fully aligned with the promises you once only dared to dream. And in that sacred space, the eternal enters the now. The invisible becomes visible, and the message that has been in motion for years finally arrives, not because the world changed, but because you did. So lift your eyes, prepare your soul, let gratitude be your atmosphere and faith be your posture, for this Tuesday is not about chance, it is about calling, it is not a delay, it is divine design. The sign is coming not as a favor, but as a fulfillment. Not as a surprise, but as a seal, and when it comes you will understand the power of timing that is not rushed by pressure, but ruled by love. Don't miss it. How to recognize the sign when it comes. There is a holy danger that arises when your eyes are not trained to see, when your spirit is so clouded by distractions, assumptions, or impatience that you fail to recognize the very thing you've been praying for. And that is why this word is urgent. Do not miss the sign when it comes, because it is coming. This Tuesday, heaven is scheduled to speak directly to you, not in thunder, not in spectacle, but in a deeply personal whisper that only your surrendered heart will understand. The tragedy is not that people don't receive signs. The tragedy is that they overlook them. They pass them by while waiting for something louder, flashier, more dramatic, forgetting that the kingdom never arrives with outward observation. It comes in silence, in symbols, in moments so ordinary that only the awakened can see the miracle within them. The sign that's coming to you is already loaded with direction, confirmation, alignment, and spiritual clarity. But none of it will matter if you don't see it. So how do you recognize the sign? How do you tune your soul to divine frequency when all around you is noise, fear, and distraction? The answer is spiritual stillness. You must quiet the chaos within you so that the sacred message doesn't get drowned out by the voice of your ego. You must stop looking for signs in the sky and begin listening for them in your spirit. A sign from God is never meant to appeal to your logic. It is designed to speak to your identity. When it arrives, it will not explain itself to your reasoning mind, but it will resonate so deeply with your inner truth that your whole body may tremble with recognition. That's how you know it won't require confirmation from others. It will carry the kind of peace that surpasses understanding. It might come through a dream that feels more real than reality, a phrase from a stranger's mouth that echoes something you said in secret to God. A picture, a name, a symbol that hits you like a memory from the future, or a sudden shift in your emotions, a flood of knowing that arrests your doubt and demands your attention. And when it comes, it will not ask you to understand it fully. It will ask you to trust it. That's the key. Divine signs require trust, not analysis. You must resist the urge to explain it away, to downgrade it to coincidence, or to wait for a second sign before you act. The sign that's coming to you is wrapped in the mystery of timing and meaning, tailored precisely to meet your current level of awareness. And if your eyes are clouded by bitterness, your ears clogged by fear, or your heart hardened by unbelief, it will pass you like wind through a field, felt but not followed. That is why you must prepare now. Prepare not by obsessively scanning your surroundings, but by becoming still within. Cultivate awareness. Train your eyes to see beauty in the small things, because the sign will often appear in the subtle, not the sensational. You won't recognize the sign if you're expecting fireworks. You'll recognize it when your spirit is aligned with divine rhythm. So what blocks recognition? The biggest enemy is your expectation of form. You think the sign must come in one specific way, and so you miss the miracle when it comes in another. Maybe you're expecting a word from someone you admire, but it comes through someone you ignored. Maybe you think it will appear in church, but it shows up in a cafe. Maybe you assumed it would come as a breakthrough, but it arrives as a gentle reminder to wait just a little longer. Let go of the form. Let go of the mental picture, and instead stay tuned to the feeling of it, the frequency, the way your soul leaps or stills when it touches truth. That inner movement is more reliable than your outer eyes. The spirit always recognizes what the flesh overlooks, and when the sign comes, your spirit will leap, the same way a child leaps in the womb at the presence of destiny. So do not ignore the leap. Do not minimize what your heart tells you is real, because the enemy of your promise is not the absence of signs. It is the refusal to believe them. This Tuesday, when the divine sign appears, your job is not to explain it, but to receive it with reverence. With humility, with faith, let it mark you. Let it adjust your direction. Let it confirm what you've secretly known all along, but were too afraid to act on, that you are not crazy, that you are not abandoned. That God has been listening and answering all along. The moment you say yes to the sign, a door opens in the spiritual realm, new instructions begin to unfold, new energy flows, new courage rises. That's why it's dangerous to miss it. Because the sign is not just a symbol, it is a signal. It is the divine green light saying, move, speak, trust, build, rest, wait, go. Whatever message your spirit needs, this Tuesday it will arrive. But only if you're present enough to hear it. Only if you've let go of needing to control it. Only if you've softened the hard places in your heart enough to let the whisper reach you. Do not despise the small thing. Do not overlook the gentle nudge. The kingdom never comes with dramatic announcements. It arrives like dew on the grass, unnoticed by many, transformative for those who pay attention. You must pay attention. This Tuesday, guard your spirit. Stay off the frequencies of fear and distraction. Lean into silence, speak less, observe more, listen deeply, look with wonder. Don't be afraid to say, this is it, I know it, I receive it. The world may call it a coincidence, but you will know it as confirmation. And in that moment of recognition, everything changes. The sign becomes the key opens the next gate, and you walk through not as one who is hoping, but as one who knows, because heaven has spoken, and you had the eyes to see it. You didn't miss it. You were ready. The aftermath of a divine sign, what to do once it appears. When the sign appears this Tuesday, and it will appear, the moment of divine contact will not be the end of your journey. It will be the ignition of a new chapter, a spiritual responsibility that demands your alignment, obedience, and unwavering faith. Most people think that when a sign shows up, the work is done. But the truth is, a divine sign is not a finish line. It's an invitation to shift from wandering to walking, from hoping to executing, from questioning to declaring. The sign is not meant to entertain you or soothe your ego. It's meant to commission you. It is the signal that now is the time to act, build, release, or embrace what your spirit has already seen. When that holy sign lands in your atmosphere, it carries the weight of divine clarity. But clarity without courage is wasted. And so, once you receive the sign, the first thing you must do is respond, not emotionally, but intentionally. Stop, honor the moment, and seal it in your heart. The worst thing you could do is treat it casually or intellectually dissect it until the magic is gone. Divine signs do not come to be analyzed. They come to be accepted. They are sacred confirmations that you have crossed a spiritual threshold and can no longer return to the old mindset, the old rhythm, the old vibration that you were once attached to. The sign will demand movement. It will press you to release what is no longer aligned, to step into arenas you previously avoided, to trust that what was revealed is enough even if not everything is explained. Do not make the mistake of receiving a divine sign and then going back to business as usual. The moment God confirms what he whispered in your spirit, you must realign your life to honor that confirmation. If the sign revealed it's time to let go, let go. If the sign declared your promise is near, start walking like it. If the sign validated a dream, get to building, because faith is not just belief, it is movement. The sign gives you permission to move forward without fear, not because you now know the whole picture, but because you know who is painting it. This is where many people stumble. They wait for the next sign before acting on the first. But divine signs are not breadcrumbs to keep you dependent. They are revelations that you are already equipped. You don't need another sign. You need to respond to the one already given, and trust this. When you act in alignment with the sign, more clarity will come. Direction follows obedience. The more you honor the divine nudge, the more the road will reveal itself. This is how faith grows, step by step, not through visible maps, but through invisible inner knowing. After the sign comes, protect your atmosphere. Not everyone will understand what you experienced. Not everyone will believe what you saw. And that's okay. The sign was not sent for them. It was sent for you. So don't expect collective validation for a personal revelation. God does not consult the crowd before he moves in your life. You were not called in a group. You were called in secret. That sign is sacred, and it must be guarded accordingly. Don't explain it to skeptics. Don't dilute it for doubters. Don't ignore it just because it came quietly. Cherish it, protect it. Build your life around the truth it confirmed. Because the sign is more than a message, it is the manifestation of answered prayer, and that answered prayer demands a new way of being, a new schedule, a new mindset, a new level of preparation. A divine sign is a call to rise higher, to no longer pretend that you are confused, to stop entertaining old versions of yourself that no longer belong in this chapter. When the sign arrives this Tuesday, you must shift your posture. Carry yourself like one who knows, speak like one who is sure, dream bigger, act bolder, and stop apologizing for the anointing that now surrounds you. You've been authorized, you've been seen, heaven has spoken. Now act like it. If the sign points to a promise, start preparing as though it is already yours. Faith without preparation is just fantasy. Your willingness to prepare proves your belief in the sign. Don't just journal it, respond to it, set things in motion, declutter what is old, invest in what is new, begin walking in the reality of what the sign confirmed. The sign did not come to impress you, it came to activate you, and now you have no more excuses. You are no longer in the dark. You are no longer uncertain. A line has been drawn in the spiritual sand, and your job now is to cross it boldly. This is the season where you must walk as though you are already in possession of the promise. Feel it, declare it, dress for it, speak from it, respond to life from that identity, because once God sends a sign, you are accountable to it. Not in fear, but in faith. To pretend you didn't see it is to delay your own breakthrough. You've been asking for clarity. Now you have it. You've been asking for proof. Now heaven has confirmed it. Don't insult the sacredness of the moment by acting like nothing changed. Everything has changed, the sign has arrived, and your posture must now reflect that. Let your conversations reflect it. Let your decisions mirror it. Let your emotions align with it. Even when doubt tries to sneak back in, remind yourself, I've received the sign. I can't unsee it, I can't unknow it, and because I've seen it, I am now walking forward with divine confidence. This Tuesday is more than just a moment. It is the beginning of momentum. The sign is not the conclusion of your journey. It is the divine green light. It's heaven saying, now go, build, trust, obey. So don't sit on it. Don't wait for someone to approve what God already stamped with his own hand. Don't linger in indecision when the sign already gave you direction. Your obedience to the sign is the highest form of gratitude you can offer. So honor it. Not with words alone, but with bold, deliberate action. That's how you turn a sign into a miracle. That's how you transform a confirmation into a manifestation. And that's how you step into the life you were always meant to live, not by wishing, but by responding to the divine signal that said, it's time, it's yours, let's begin.